So it was Yom Kippur, and a rabbi was warning the community about the fragility of life. One day, everyone in this congregation is going to die, he thundered from the bima. And seated in the front row was an elderly woman who laughed out loud when she heard this. Irritated, the rabbi stopped speaking and asked, "What's so funny?" "Well," she said, "I'm not a member of this congregation." Whether you are a member of Congregation Micah or not, here in person or watching on our live stream, Shana Tova, Happy New Year. It's so very sweet to gather together on this holy day as we embrace, really re-embrace life. Because next week, life and death will be placed before us. Uvacharta b'chaim, choose life, says the Holy One, blessed be that name, in order that you and your descendants may live. What does it mean to choose life, to fully embrace it? Once upon a time, the first humans, our ancestors, Adam and Eve, lived in paradise. And at the center of the Garden of Eden was the Eitz Chaim, the tree of life. Returning to the garden, connecting to the tree, means reconnecting to ourselves way back when we were in our most pristine human state, before everything got so complicated, before mistakes had been made. Our journey this time of year is a journey of return. The world we find ourselves living in today is as messy as can be. People now shoot at children with automatic weapons in school or while they pray. Political violence and deep divides in our country. Decency has lost its hold on the public imagination. Anti-Semitic acts are at an all-time high worldwide. Wars continue all over the globe, most significantly in the Jewish homeland. Hostages remain in Gaza. That's why we've tied a yellow ribbon on the old oak tree behind me. Devastating wildfires in places like California. The whole world feels like an inferno. And on a more personal level, every one of us is flawed. Each of us comes from or is part of a very complicated family tree. The stories we read over these holy days model that complexity. They also reveal great truths about human existence, timeless truths. We live in an imperfect society, yes, where injustices, large and small, are part of the very fabric of our world. So much so that sometimes it's hard to see the good that's right in front of our faces. We live in a time when people claim lies as truth and truth as lies. And watching these dynamics play out on social media and the more traditional press in the United States and in Israel is painful. We've forgotten that it was once our responsibility as human beings to till and to tend the garden. Accepting mortality and imperfection, acknowledging that we live in an imperfect world, it's part of the sacred labor of this season. The High Holy Days strip away any pretenses about that. We all have work to do this week. And there are no hierarchies here at Micah. No one's better than anyone else in that regard. This is what it means to choose life. Can you reaffirm and embrace the good in this very real and broken world? Eitz Chaim hi l'mahazikim ba. It is a tree of life to those who grasp it. V'tomchecha me'ushar, and whoever holds on tight, they find happiness. This proverb from the Torah functions as a promise that, in fact, there is something eternal that we can hold on to, something that's forever with us, right here, right now. It is Torah, it is God, It is family. It is community. It is life itself. It's the tools we use, the ones we look to for guidance, counsel, and sustenance. The tree of life is meant to encourage us, the community of Israel, to remember our special role in God's plan to restore creation. And trees are at the heart of this interdependence. So many of life's vital ingredients, clean air, fresh water, nourishing food, fuel for warmth and shade, all dependent on trees. They're an invaluable part of our world. There would be no life on Earth without trees to produce oxygen and absorb the carbon dioxide that we breathe out. Trees also provide habitat and food for countless animals, medicines for people. Wherever we live, we have trees as our neighbors, especially here in Tennessee, the greenest state in the land of the free. God intended for us to live in paradise, and we thrive physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually when we're surrounded by nature. And just as trees anchor themselves with roots to provide stability, access to essential nutrients, we humans, we rely on foundational values, beliefs, relationships that ground and nourish our growth. Once upon a time, there was a young tree whose crown grew much faster than its roots. She grew taller and more slender with each passing year, and her branches reached high above the other young trees. Her mother tree was so very proud, especially at her rapid growth and her healthy trunk. But one very old wise tree warned her, "Your roots should be twice as deep as your trunk and branches, and that way you'll grow to be stable and strong enough to endure the wildest winds and the stormiest floods that come through these forests." The young tree was so pleased with her foliage and her long, tender branches, she disregarded the warning. And then one day, the little tree met a big, strong boulder and fell in love. It was a summer afternoon, and her roots bumped into him underground. The boulder was immediately smitten by her beauty. He'd never seen such exquisite little roots. And his great round top stuck out of the ground, but the rest of his body lived deep beneath the forest floor. She'd never met a creature smoother or stronger. It was love at first sight. But she was beginning to grow very weak because she hadn't heeded the old tree's advice. "Just hold on to me," the boulder said. "Don't worry about that silly old tree," what she said. "I'm a big, strong rock. I'll keep you safe when the storms come." So she entangled her little roots around the boulder, held on tight. "See," she said to the elder tree one day, "I don't need big roots. I have my rock, and he will hold me steady through the rain and through the wind." And as the years passed, such as happens, the tree and the boulder kind of grew tired of one another. They began to argue day and night. So the tree pulled away and began growing in another direction. She was glad to be rid of him. But when she tried to grip the earth with her new roots, she found it difficult to stay upright. Her footing was unstable because she'd been hanging onto the boulder for so many years. She never had a chance to grow deep down into the earth. She began to cry. "Now what am I going to do?" She knew that the rainy season was coming and that the soil would get drenched and their roots wouldn't hold. But the wise old tree, she said, there, child, don't cry. But I've been so foolish and I didn't listen to you, and soon the storms will be coming and it's too late." "It's never too late to grow," said the old tree. "But how can I grow quickly enough to stay grounded in the storm? It's impossible." "Maybe impossible for one tree, but look around you." The old tree spread her branches wide, pointing to the number of trees surrounding them. "If we all grow just a little bit towards you in the next few days, we can form a web to hold you into the ground." Well, pretty soon, the forest was abuzz with the plan. They all did their part, and within a few days, the young tree could feel that around the base of her trunk, she was being held by the roots of the trees surrounding her. And by the time the first storm washed through the woods, the young tree was strong and steady. She withstood the storm, and the rainwater even nourished her roots more. With the help of her tree family, her family tree, she weathered all the storms of the season. Here at Micah, the roots we have are deeply intertwined with the rich soil of our family traditions, our cultural and religious heritage, community bonds, and the profound teachings and the history of our Jewish faith. These roots serve as a source of wisdom and guidance, nurturing our souls and shaping our destinies. Learning from the past not only anchors us in this world, it also provides us with a deep sense of belonging and connection and self-understanding. Forest ecologist Suzanne Simard is an expert in underground plant systems, and her research has revealed that trees and forests connect their roots to exchange information and even goods. This wood wide web is an underground invisible network, allowing scores of trees to convey warnings of insect attacks and to deliver carbon and nitrogen and water to trees in need. The oldest trees function as hubs with parent trees, using the network to nourish shaded seedlings, including their own offspring, which trees apparently recognize as kin, until the saplings are tall enough to reach the light. For the forest community, the value of this cooperative underground economy appears to be better overall health and greater resilience in the face of disturbances. Consider the aspen trees that dot the landscapes of the Rockies. Each tree is part of one giant living organism stretching all the way to Utah, connected through an underground root systems that arborists say is thousands of years old. When one tree falls, the whole colony feels the reverberations miles and miles away. It's like how many of us has felt the pain of those who have fallen in Israel. Some trees are mammoth, like the sequoia, but as big as they are, interestingly, their roots spread out just barely below the ground surface. Sequoia trees grow best in groves. When strong winds come, their roots hold each other up. The Jewish philosopher Franz Rogensreis once wrote, "None of us has solid ground under our feet. Each of us is only held up by the neighborly hands holding us. The result is that we are each held up by the next person, and often, indeed, most of the time, we hold each other up mutually." Banyan trees grow with roots exposed above the ground. Here they are. They're like mangroves. Their roots are vulnerable, even naked. We usually keep our roots private. We share our branches and our leaves with the world, even our trunks, but our roots remain concealed until tragedy strikes. A loved one dies, and their friends ask me, the rabbi, what should I say to them at the funeral or at the shiva, the house of mourning? It's less about what you say, I tell them, and more about just showing up. And sometimes I have to remind the mourner, exposed and vulnerable, and while they're still in pain, such that it's raw, that they don't want visitors in their home, your house is the scariest place on earth right now. And anyone brave enough to walk through your door is a friend. Our community has been brave this year. We were brave recently. 2 weeks ago, we mourned the loss of 15-year-old Owen. And her mother, Karen, is already a fierce advocate fighting teenage suicide. Micah's caring community, led by Pat and Rich Abelson, shows up weekly with prepared meals for members like Jane Bellows and Susan Chappell and Phyllis Gordon, all of whom lost their husbands recently. For Sylvia Lippman, who took a fall. Kim Keller got a terrible diagnosis and exposed her roots in a vulnerable and visible way. Rabbi Lori immediately invited her to meet regularly for pastoral counseling. Pat Abelson showed up at her house with chicken soup and challah and cookies and flowers. And they sat on a screened-in porch and they talked and they talked. And recently they went out for dinner. Kim says, quote, "This community wrapped its arms around me in a meaningful and loving way. It has meant the world to me. I'm also on the prayer list, and I know the whole community, those who know me and those who don't, pray for me every week. And all of this has lifted me up." We show up for good things, too. For Bruce and Ellen Wolfson, who recently became grandparents again. This year at Micah, members showed up for ufrufs and weddings and baby namings and tons of b'nai mitzvah. Some of the people in this room became buddies because of Micah. Jeff Karp and Andy Saul met at our yearly fundraiser decades ago. Bob Smith and Martin Light talk baseball and politics daily. Ann Light, Audrey Rice, Penny Enton, Barbara Ramsey, Lynn Hetty, they get together all the time to do art. They all met here at Micah. Have you heard about the enchiladas? That's what our teens call their cohort of friends. This is what it means to live in the forest of trees that is Congregation Micah. Our religion tells us to show up in good times and bad. Because we humans need each other. We're social creatures. From prehistoric campfires to our kitchen tables, it's in our homes, in our neighborhoods, and in our synagogues where we form relationships that add substance, support, and meaning to our lives. We want friends we can rely on. We want advice from people we know and trust. We want to learn and celebrate life in relationship with others. We want to share our journey with people who encourage us to become the best within ourselves. We want to be enlivened and nourished by ideas and passions. Some Jews ask, why should I belong to a synagogue when I can explore Jewish topics online or attend any number of community events without belonging? And if I belong, why should I get involved? What do I get back on my investment? What's in it for me? But we should approach this topic by asking, what can I bring to the synagogue that will energize it and strengthen it? What will be my legacy to the Jewish community? What seeds can I plant that will make it better for those who come after me? When the psalmist looked for a metaphor for pure piety, the poet compared the righteous person to, quote, a tree planted by side streams of water that yields its fruits in season and whose foliage never fades. Whatever it produces thrives. Micah is a thriving spiritual home. It's a center of Torah, a foundation for Jewish life. It's a safe harbor in times of trouble. And it's a place to seek guidance and support for all those in need whenever they need it. And since Micah is there for others when they need it most, it will be there for you when you need it most. This is the place we plant seeds for hope for the future. Trees live on a different time scale than humans. They thrive on patience. They take years or even decades to reach maturity, adding only a few inches or feet each year. A tree doesn't rush, focusing instead on building strong branches and deep root systems. The slow growth of trees reminds us that good things take time. We can't go from zero to hero and achieve all of our aspirations overnight. We need to embrace gradual, sustained growth and prioritize long-term goals over instant gratification. Patience leads to lasting success, just like a mature oak towering for centuries. Micah's like that too. For decades, we have continued to grow, and we are blessed with a wonderful, vibrant congregation which has myriads of different opportunities for our members and their children to nurture one another, to learn and grow and develop strong Jewish identities grounded in the values of Torah. Being a part of our community involves more than paying annual support. This is a special place that motivates us to live meaningful and impactful lives in relationship with one another, doing Jewish. If you feel like you are constantly running from one thing to the next, you're exhausted by the hectic pace of life, come here for Shabbos. If you want to connect and relate with others, attend our social events. If you believe that you have strengths and ideas and passions that you want to share, study Torah with us. We exist as a community to listen and connect, to relate and renew. And we make the sacred journey through life together. If you want to go fast, go alone, says an African proverb, suggesting that individual effort is quick and efficient. If you want to go far, go together. Collective effort fosters endurance, a greater distance of achievement. Nashville, this whole broken world, it needs us. It needs you. Congregation Micah is where compassion meets action. Our community is an orchard of trees where we cultivate love and resilience and justice and empathy and humility and community. The result is that for our members, we never have to walk the journey of life alone. Good Yontif.